Last time out, the Formula E fraternity was at the famous Longui circuit for the Macau Prix, where E-Dam's Sam Thompson went on to become the second ever winner in the series, whilst in GP2 is a history-making race at Austria, as Nicolas Zorbat not only became the third different winner in 3 races, but also became the first guest driver to win a race as well. Now the GP2 fraternity arrives at the famous Silverstone circuit, where the traditional British weather could have a part to play. Will the series have a 4th different winner in 4 races, and how will the Formula E guys get on in GP4OC's first ever fictional track at the Sunob circuit in Tahiti? Find out in this week's edition of the Feeder Series Roundup. So welcome to episode 9 of the Feeder Series Roundup. Today we have a double bill as we look at round 4 of the GP4 GP2 Offline Championship and round 3 of the GP4 Formula E Championship. So let's kick things off with Formula E at the Sunob circuit for the Tahiti Prix. Last time out it was Sam Thompson that took victory in a chaotic race in Macau that as per usual never fails to impress. But can Thompson keep up the momentum, or will we have a 3rd different winner? Well, let's find out. There is a guest driver taking part in this race as former DTM driver Marco Butel makes an appearance in place of relative and current championship leader Felix Krebs at Viper Racing. Let's see how he gets on as we hand over to our Formula E narrator El Warrior.
The beautiful Tahiti scenery was host to the 3rd round of the 2014 GP4 Formula E Offline Championship. After qualifying, it was Davi Suarez who took pole position ahead of Chris Chatfield and Alessandro Tomaselli. Completing the top 10 were Chang, Schlegel, Biltel making a guest appearance in place of Krebs, Lopez, Kress, Cerner and Fulgenzi. Macau race winner Sam Thompson lined up 16. The race started off cleanly with no major incident. Suarez got off the line pretty well and kept his lead from Chatfield, while Schlegel made a move on Chang for 4th place. Later on in lap 1, Brown took 10th place from Fulgenzi into turn 10. Lap 3 and Lopez overtook Kress for P7, while Schlegel moved up to 3rd at the expense of Tomaselli. 1 lap later and Lopez was in charge, first overtaking Biltel for 6th and a couple of corners later taking care of Chang to move up into 5th. Lap 5 and Schlegel demoted Chatfield to 3rd and set out to catch race leader Suarez. Later that lap, Lopez's charge was stopped when Chang went up the inside of the Argentine to turn 10, resulting in a crash. Laura retired on the spot, and Pedro suffered the same fate later on, unseen by the cameras. Lap 9 saw a similar incident as Cerner tried to overtake Biltel. Leon then came back onto the track and clipped Vasseur, which made Virgin Racing drivers spin. James Wills and Noel Fulgenzi were battling for 13th and couldn't avoid Cerner, resulting in both drivers getting their front wheels up in the air. Cerner then finally retired from the race on lap 10, the same lap in which Juhasz made a move on Duncan for 9th. 2 laps later, Chris Chatfield suffered an engine failure, giving us our 4th retirement of the race. That same lap, Tomaselli and Kress were battling for 3rd place, but coming to turn 10, Alessandro tried to overtake. Kress then shut the door and spun, stalling the car in the process and becoming the 5th retirement. Lap 15 and still out will put a move on Brown to take 7th place, while 1 lap later, Min took 9th away from Duncan. However, it seems the American went back to his Formula 1 days, as in turn 10 he went up the inside of Min and the two collided, causing Min to spin. Alan Wolf then crashed into Min, who shortly after retired. Lap 19 and Duncan wasn't done yet, as he went full Toro Rosso, diving down the inside of Willows and causing James to crash into the wall and lose a wheel. Lap 21 saw Vasseur take 3rd away from Tomaselli, Skillen demoted Duncan to 10th, and still put a move on Butel for 6th. Lap 22 and Schlegel came into the pits. After a 7-second pit stop, the German rejoined 6th, right behind Stella. On lap 23, a lot of drivers took to the pits, including race leader Suarez, who kept his lead, Vasseur, Tomaselli, and still out to name a few. That same lap saw Duncan involved in yet another incident, although this time there was no contact as he went up the inside of Skillen, who crashed into the barrier and retired. Duncan himself pitted 1 lap later, as did Macau race winner Sam Thompson. Monroe came in on lap 25, while Beltel and Fulgenzi pitted on lap 28. Lap 29 and turn 10 claimed another victim, as Monroe and Jones go into the corner, but only Monroe comes out. Jones crashed through the barriers and became the 9th retirement of the race. On lap 31, Wilson Brown took 7th away from Beltel, and Fulgenzi's engine failed, causing a fire and making the Argentine retirement number 10. On lap 34, Patrick Juhas was defending 4th place from Tomaselli when he made a mistake into the infamous turn 10 and stalled, causing the race to be red flagged. In the end, it was Davi Suarez who won the race ahead of Schlegel and Vasseur, becoming the 3rd different winner in as many races. Juhas was still classified 4th, Tomaselli, Still, Lau and Beltel, Brown, Duncan and Monroe rounded out the top 10. Fastest lap went to race winner Suarez. There were 9 classified retirements as Fulgenzi completed 90% of race distance. And on the driver standings, Suarez moved up to 2nd, 6 points behind Krebs, who still leads. Schlegel moves up to 5th and after a great 2nd place. Then Lopez, Min and Chang are the only drivers yet to score. On the team standings, Viper still lead with 65 points. Edams moves up to 2nd and Virgin, Andretti and Abt all move up in the standings, with the latter scoring their first points of the season this race. China Racing also moves ahead of Mahindra.
Not the way Formula E wanted to end its first ever race on a fictional track, but it was still an exciting race nonetheless. Thank you to El Wari for providing his voice, and congratulations to Davy Suarez on becoming the 3rd different winner in 3 races. Well, with Formula E out of the way, let us have a look at round 4 of the GP4 GP2 offline championship at the famous Silverstone circuit for their British Grand Prix. Last time out in Austria, it was overtakes galore and provided some history in GP4 as DTM driver Nicolas Zorbach became the first guest driver ever to win a race in any category, which surprisingly catapulted him up to 2nd in the championship. No wonder he is looking for a permanent drive for the rest of the season. The question now being, will we have a 4th different winner, or will Snezana Radovojevic or Turavi Nalterion become the first double winner of the season? Well, let us find out, shall we? So to take us through the action after missing last week's race due to being on holiday and having most of his script corrupted, here is our GP2 narrator, Isaac Fishaw.
We have Nicolas Pascali in pole position, Turavi Nalterion in 2nd, Paulino Tomaselli in 3rd, Matthias Turek in 4th, Lucas Kress in 5th, Snezana Radiojevic in 6th, Alessandro Della Valle in 7th, Gabriel Gomes in 8th, Daniel Adventure in 9th, Entine Jones in 10th, Jordi Vermeulen in 14th, Tim Verhulgestrati in 15th, Luca Farina in 16th, Jamie Griffiths in 17th, Isaac Fashray in 18th, Thomas Pascal in 19th, Joel Dyer in 20th, Daniel McCammer in 21st, Bartos Kloss in 22nd. The forecast for the race was that there was going to be rain throughout the race, making for interesting strategies. The 5 lights went out to start the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, and many drivers were making moves in the background, while Nicolas Pascali had a rocket of a start and established his lead. However, Andrea Federi in 11th place hit the brakes too late and rammed into the back of Henry Waltz, causing Henry to lose his rear wing and Andrea to lose his front wing. This meant that both of them had to pit in for repairs, which ruined the start of their race. Jordi Vermeulen broke too late, and that led to him ramming into Jamie Griffiths, and this meant that Jamie had to retire from the race, and Jordi was lucky enough to only have front wing damage. The 2 racing engineering teammates came to blows as Turavi Nalterion hit the back of his teammate, causing him to spin out, and Paulino got pushed into the gravel only, and at the same time Lucas Kress hit the back of Matthias Turek, causing both of them to go off the track and Lucas to spin. Paulino Tomaselli rejoined the track recklessly, and that led to him crashing into Daniel Adventure, and unfortunately Daniel Adventure had to retire on the first lap. Paulino was lucky enough to only be left with front wing damage. Tim Verhulgestrati had the inside line, but Thomas Pascal came like a bullet and sent Tim Verhulgestrati airborne. Luckily he escaped without any injury, but unfortunately he had to retire because of the damage caused by the track. Thomas was very lucky that he didn't suffer from any damage from his reckless move. A lap later, and Lucas Kress did the exact same thing, but at this time he rammed into Bartos Kloss, sending Lucas spinning and Bartos out of the race. Only 2 laps later, and Isaac Fashray rammed into Joel Dyer, causing both of them to spin. However, Joel was stuck in the gravel after the incident, forcing him to retire, and Isaac Fashray was very fortunate to still be in the race. Paulino Tomaselli had the inside line, but Henry Waltz tried to squeeze past, but Henry hit Paulino's front tyre, and caused Paulino's tyre to come off and Henry's front wing to get damaged, and that meant that Paulino had to retire. 5 laps later, and Isaac Freshway hit the back of Thomas Pascal's car, causing Isaac to spin out and Thomas to slide off the track. Ravi Nalterion had the inside line to make a clean overtake on Lucas Cress to move up into 10th place. Gabriel Gomes had the straight line speed and the inside line to make the move on Matthias Torbeck to move up into 4th place. At lap 14, we saw drivers making their first pit stop of the race if they hadn't been involved in any crashes, and now we can see Gabriel Gomes and Entine Jones making their stops. Isaac Freshway saw the inside line, there wasn't enough space for him to make the move, and that led to a massive crash involving him and Thomas Pascal. Ravi Nalterion made a clean move on Daniel Macamo, but in the behind, Gabriel Gomes flipped Matthias Torbeck like he was Gutierrez. Surprisingly, Matthias was able to get back on the track and drive off like nothing happened. The leader, Nicolas Pascali, pitted, and behind him was Snezana Radiojevic in 2nd place. And after the pit stop, Nicolas was able to stay ahead of Snezana Radiojevic and maintain the lead of the race. Ravi Nalterion pitted from 9th place, and he came out in 10th. Lorenzo Tomaselli had the inside line and the speed to make the overtake on Entine Jones to make the move up into 5th place. On the final lap, Ravi Nalterion made a move on Daniel Macambo to move up into 9th place. Congratulations to Nicolas Pascali for winning at Silverstone. Alessandro Della Valle finished in 2nd place. Zvezana Radiojevic finished in 3rd to round up the podium.
An amazing and exciting race that was at Silverstone. Thank you to Isaac Forshaw for providing his voice, and congratulations to Nicolas Pascali on becoming the 4th different winner this season. And with that, that is just going to do it for this episode of the Feeder Series Roundup. Next week we'll be having a look at round 5 of the GP4 GP2 Offline Championship at the Hockenheimring for their German Grand Prix, and we will also be having a look at round 8 of the GP4 DTM Offline Championship at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, with Formula E taking a week break. But until then, I have been JWF1, and I will see you all next week.